Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, we have some exciting content. For once, we have some balance changes which should be dropping into the game tomorrow, I believe, via maintenance. We've got 25 changes in total, quite a few nerfs and some buffs as well. Surprisingly, I thought they'll just focus on the nerfs, which is pretty good, but you're just gonna have to ignore the gameplay in the background because yeah, it's throw a day inside of Brawl Stars and I can't really I can't get gameplay of literally all of these brawlers. There will be at least a couple of old clips as well in there, which is good that I've somehow kept them inside of my storage. Anyways, let's pop it into the buffed brawlers first. Let's start off with Edgar. So Edgar is receiving a health buff going from 7,200 to 7,400. Yeah, I think this is a good change, mainly because Edgar's not even picked as like a counter pick into most brawlers now. I thought with the health buff, it would have maybe survived a bit better in 1 vs 1s, but it's quite clear that he's just not doing well in any situation, so that buff is nice. Lumi is receiving a buff to her projectile unload speed, so they're essentially reverting the previous nerf which they did. So they're buffing the unload speed of the projectile by 5%. So Lumi is low-key like a D-tier brawler inside of meta. Well, not even low-key, she's just terrible. She's not been used in scrims, she's not been used in ranked, and the only really use case for her if there's multiple like brawlers like Hank or Frank, etc. But still then, it was just she's too squishy and she doesn't have the range, so this would just at least allow her to have that niche where she can deal a lot of damage, but she's still vulnerable because she's weak and lacks range. So I think this would be nice and might put Lumi in and around the kind of B tier in the meta. Next up, we have a buff with Griff. So Griff is receiving a 200 health buff, just like Edgar, going from 7,200 to 7,400. In relative terms, I don't think this is really going to do absolutely anything to Griff. It's only a 3% health buff, roughly. Yeah, but Griff, he's just not been good in the meta for literally a year, even since his hypercharge. Hypercharge is decent, but it's just better. Tank counters are out there. It might at maximum bump him into the B tier, but nothing higher than that. Next up, we have a buff with Rico. So Rico is in and around the C tier, so I can see why he's receiving a buff. He's receiving a buff to his unload speed. They're increasing his rate of fire, so I believe this is just gonna literally allow him to unload his shots a lot quicker. Means more DPS. He already has quite a fast reload speed anyways, so again, it's just gonna allow him to ramp up the damage a lot more effectively. Rico's just not really been used in competitive play for a long time, ever since they nerfed his gadget, but this will allow him probably to thrive again in the maps where Rico's always been good on, like Hard Rock Mine, for example. So I definitely see him coming back to the competitive meta. Miko is receiving a buff, and we don't actually know what buff he's receiving just yet because they're just fine-tuning the numbers. So what would you actually buff Miko in? Is it the health? Is it going to be the damage? It's probably going to be, well, if I don't want to buff the reload speed, it's got to be one of the two, right? Well, how else would you really buff a Miko without like reworking his hypercharge or just adding something to his kit overall? So yeah, I suspect probably a damage buff. So we have a buff to Gigi. So she's receiving a main attack damage buff going from, well, they said 1,000. I think it's 1,100, but I can't see it in game. But anyways, it's been buffed to 1,200. That's all you need to know. Gigi, like I've been saying, Gigi hasn't really been a strong brawler whatsoever ever since her release. She's underrated into some matchups, but this will allow her, I don't know, just deal more damage. I thought she already deals enough damage. I think her range or something like that probably needs to be buffed for her to be any good inside of the game. So I'm unsure what this is really going to do to her. Maybe she'll just thrive indirectly from all the nerfs to a lot of the buffy brawlers. Fang is next on the buff list, and he's receiving a buff to his star power Divine Soul. So they say the damage bonus has been adjusted from 720 to 900. I believe that means that's like the amount of damage you can tank. I'm just confused by this. I just thought it's like a 90% damage reduction shield from the next shot. So maybe that's just, again, you're just able to tank more, essentially, is what I'm kind of gaining from this. So yeah, a little bit vague, but will this really impact Fang? Maybe it will allow him to at least soup it in and just tank a little bit more, but it doesn't really sound like that good of a buff. Trunk is receiving a buff to his speed that he gains when his ants are on the floor. So before it was a 20% movement speed buff when you're in and around your ants. Now it's going to be a 25% speed buff. I don't think it's going to like be the craziest buff in the world, but Trunk's always kind of a slept-on brawler in that sense. He's good into the right matchup, so I mean, this will allow him to wiggle around the map more. dodge more shots and allow him to close down the gap onto opponents quicker. We'll see what this does to Trunk. Maybe this could make him a bit better. So moving on to the final buff with his balance changes, we have POCO. So POCO is receiving a super charge rate buff, which I actually really like. I'm kind of scared of it, low-key, but POCO's been terrible for a long time since they nerfed his gadgets. His super charge rate is going from 5 hits to 4 hits, so a great buff here. They're keeping the hypercharge rate to 10 hits though, so it will take 2.5 supers to get instead of your 2 supers, but it works out the exact same. But one less hit to get your super, that can be really good. Like, imagine with 1 ammo, you shoot 2 enemies, you're getting with 1 ammo, well, with 2 ammo, you shoot 2 enemies, you get your super back straight away. So you can be chaining supers like crazy. So yeah, I think POCO will definitely be improved in like the hot zone meta at least, and maybe some cheesy compositions. I'm excited for that change. Okay, so now we're finally moving on to the nerfs, starting off with Ems. So Ems is receiving 4 nerfs, and I still think this might not be enough. So the first one is to the star power of hype, the Buffy. The invulnerability duration is going from 1 second to 0.5 seconds, which is nice. I still just hate this mechanic, but like, because of the healing that you get on top of the invulnerability, it's just I just wish they'll just remove it, but for now this could be good. I don't think they'll ever remove it. I think one thing they should have done is nerf the supercharge rate, which they've not done. The next one is a gadget knockback. His damage has been reduced from 1,200 to 1,000. The gadget knockback range reduced by 20%, so you're just going to push them back a lot less further, so they're able to then get closer to you. And acid spray gadget now consumes ammo. So after all these nerfs, I really don't think this is anywhere near enough to put Ems out of the S tier, in my opinion. It's not going to do nothing, but it's not really going to do a lot. I was expecting a lot more. They really need to nerf her supercharge rate, in my opinion. You're just cycling supers like crazy. Still, the invulnerability is a broken mechanic, so I still think Ems is going to be probably the best brawler in the game. Spike is next on the nerf list, and he's receiving 2 nerfs. The first one to his gadget damage. It's going from 1,200 per spike, so with his popping pin cushion, and it's going down to 1,000. So I still think this is like a lot of damage. This is still, what, 5,000 damage or close to 6,000, whatever it is. That's just going to shred through tanks too quickly. I'd have liked a cooldown probably nerf with that as well, or just something. Yeah, like if you're any type of, like I said, you can't close down a spike. It's impossible. It's far too much damage, and its life bank cooldown is going from 14 seconds to 18 seconds. So this is a really good change, because you could just spam out the life ban way too much. And yeah, I still foresee Spike being an S tier brawler, although they didn't nerf his hypercharge Buffy, which I'm very surprised about. Mortis is next on the nerf list, and Mortis has received 2 nerfs. The first one to his combo spinner gadget cooldown, going from 10 seconds to 15 seconds, which I think it should have been 18 seconds, to be honest. It's such a strong gadget. But I guess they can kind of test the water here, because with combo spinner, it no longer charges as super. So I know Ray, Ray Q, he didn't want this change to happen, but it definitely had to happen. It was way too toxic. You could just get your super for free, especially because combo spinner goes through walls. So I still think he'll be the go-to gadget, because like I said, it goes through walls. It's got still a pretty quick cooldown, and it deals a lot of damage, especially to finish off those kills. But he'll be a lot less toxic, and it'll be a lot harder to chain supers now with Mortis. I still foresee him being minimum 8 tier. So we have a nerf with Shelly, and she's receiving 2 nerfs to her Clay Pigeon's gadget slow. So it's been reduced. So slow strength is going from 60% to 30%. So we've all seen his clips with Shelly, or just faced off against a Shelly. Sometimes if she can snipe you with 3 shots, she can slow you for, I'm not joking, 8 seconds, 9, 10 seconds. Crazy. And the duration is being reduced by 50% as well. So you're going to be slowed. I knew the strength was bumped up a bit. I just had the feeling that it was stronger than other slows, because you're moving at the speed of 8-bit. So crazy. It's being reduced to 30%. So you're going to be able to move a bit better, and you are moving more. Well, the duration's reduced, so you're going to be able to move much quicker after you're slowed. So I like these changes. I don't think Shelly will be nowhere near as toxic as before. Kaze is receiving a nerf, but it's more of like a bug fix because if you guys didn't know, between her Geisha form and her Ninja form, I think the HP values were a bit messed up and not in line. So now her Geisha form health has gone from 8,200 to 8,000. So yeah, I don't really think this is going to do anything, but it's just a bug fix. Mina is receiving a nerf as well. She's receiving a nerf to her windmill gadget. The shield duration is going from 3 seconds to 2 seconds. So this is a good change because this was the reason why Mina was so good. There's other things that are good about her, but it's definitely this gadget was at the forefront because you could just charge up the map, press gadget, and just tank so much, and the enemies couldn't do anything. So good nerf. I don't know whether it's going to do a whole lot because it's still a broken gadget fundamentally, but it's a nice change. It is receiving a nerf, but they've not gone through what nerf he's receiving just yet, which I'm kind of happy about because Shade is very toxic and people don't realize is such an incredible last pick. If I was to guess, I don't actually know, maybe a supercharge rate nerf, maybe a damage nerf, health nerf. It could do one of many things. I think he needs a super charge rate nerf because I feel like he can just change supers way too much. And it's really hard to deal with a good Shade. So we'll see what he receives. Cordelis is also receiving a nerf, which I'm very confused about because Cordelis isn't really being played too much in pro play and hasn't even in the previous few metas ever since they nerfed his super speed whilst inside of the Shadow Realm. But yeah, he's receiving another nerf, probably a damage nerf, surely. I don't know why else they would want to nerf him. Maybe his numbers are too toxic mid-level. I don't actually know with this one, to be honest. I thought he'd fallen off. He definitely has fallen off, but he's receiving another nerf. So yeah, RIP Cordelis main. So moving on to the final change, it's going to be with Frank. He's receiving a couple of changes to his gadgets. The first one is with his pool gadget. The slow duration is being reduced from 5 seconds to 2 seconds. So yeah, I just couldn't believe that was even a thing. 5 seconds slow. I thought we learned that lesson, like I said, when these were first released with the Crow gadget, Slow and Toxin. Like, slows should only last a couple of seconds at maximum. So yeah, good change. And then the next change is with noise cancelling. So noise cancelling gadget duration has been increased from 2.5 seconds to 3.5 seconds. So I like this, and I like the funky tunes that come out of noise cancelling. It's absolute cinema, so I'm hoping that gadget gets used a little bit more now. And then the last change is that the camera issue, so if you guys didn't know, one team can see more of the map than the other team. That is not being fixed just yet because it requires an optional update, and the optional update will be applied before the next esports tournament most likely. So I don't know whether that means there's qualifiers in nearly 2 weeks time, but then there should be an update kind of soon-ish. So I don't know whether they're holding out to the next actual update. I don't know. This is very annoying. It's one of the most annoying bugs for me. I think this was like the most critical one. The reason why they don't do optional updates frequently is because they can lose a lot of their play base with every single update they do, which I get, but it's very frustrating because it's not like complete, like, there's a difference between game breaking bugs in the sense like you literally can't open the app, which is when they'll do an optional update. But in the sense of competitive players, this is pretty game breaking. Literally one team has an advantage every single game, which is unfair. I'm trying to think of other examples where, I don't know, it's just crazy. It's like when if you play FIFA and the other team you load into a game and one team's just 1-0 up straight away. Like it's just so unfair, the extra range bug. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed. I'm definitely disappointed by them not fixing the camera issue, which would have actually been at the forefront of most things. As long as they nerfed Buffies and fix this camera issue, I would have just said I don't really care about many of the other balance changes. That's a win in my books. So yeah, at least we get some changes to Buffies. I still think they're going to be at the forefront of the meta, unfortunately, but yeah, some changes are definitely needed. So that's going to be it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.